If you're an overlander or car camper and you're looking to build out a platform inside your Jeep that you could put a bed in, and you can also mount some hardware as well, and you want to do it at an affordable price. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can do it with materials that are under $100 for this entire project. And I'll cover all the instructions to build the platform. My name is Matt Zeffi. If you're new here, I do camping and overlanding videos, and I also do reviews of all the gear that I think are really worth taking out for your adventures. Not to mention all the DIY projects that I have on this channel as well. So if that's something you're interested in, please consider subscribing. Now, jumping into why I decided to do this platform. Well, for the most part, I wanted to have a bed inside my Jeep. I do have the rooftop tent, which allows me to also fit 2 people up there as well. So I have 1 person down here, 2 people up there, maybe even a dog up there. So this entire Jeep basically sleeps 3 people. It's like a condo on wheels, which I think is fantastic. Now, one of the main reasons that I wanted to build out the platform was to mount hardware, like my trail kitchen slider. Check out that video on the trail kitchen. I absolutely love this thing. The fact that I have the refrigerator and storage in here has been fantastic, and I also can maximize the space because of the platform that I have here. But if I have the rooftop tent, then why do I need a bed on the inside? Well, it's for stealth camping, and also if the weather is too extreme to be sleeping in the rooftop tent. I'm talking about serious cold weather, or maybe even too much rain, because that means that you'll have to dry out the tent and everything immediately after. And if you don't have a dry day after, maybe it's just easier to sleep inside the Jeep. The inside of the Jeep handles cold weather really well, actually, because I installed that headliner on my roof. Definitely check out the DIY video that I did for that. I'm still loving the headliner that I made, and it helps to regulate the temperature. Jumping into some of the design reasons on why I did the platform this way. First things first, I wanted to take advantage of the footwell storage, which meant that I was removing the 2 seats on the right of the back part of the Jeep. And I kept the individual seat on the left because, sometimes I do have a passenger back there. And I've still made use of the space by actually building a wardrobe inside the Jeep. So I'm basically getting the best of both worlds. And I have to say, for any long-term overlanding, it's really been fantastic having that extra storage where those 2 seats were. And if you want to remove that 3rd seat as well, you can always tailor the instructions that we'll talk about in this video for your liking. In addition to that, I also wanted to take advantage of the cubby space down here. Many of the builds that I've seen kind of cover up that cubby space. And again, if you're overlanding for longer periods of time, any bit of storage is going to help. And I love having that little cubby down there. Oh man, I'm exposing all my stuff here. I gotta make it look cleaner. I was just camping in the Adirondacks last weekend, so it's a little bit messy right now. And last note about design, I wanted to keep this build as simple as possible, because when you're out there overlanding, sometimes these things can go wrong where, you don't want to worry about your platform. The less things that can go wrong, the better. So I decided to keep the platform super, super simple, easy to do, and also really cheap. Now going into the materials that you're going to need, starting with the 1/2-inch plywood. I went with a beautiful sanded piece of wood because originally I was going to leave the wood entirely exposed. If you're going to cover the wood with carpeting or some type of fabric, then you don't really have to go for an expensive piece of wood. However, 1/2-inch is pretty much the standard, and I don't think I would go smaller than that, but you could get away with going larger than that. For the carpeting, I basically just found this online. It pretty much matches the rest of the Jeep carpeting as well, so I'm happy with what I chose there. You can of course choose your fabric. And I used some metal braces, 90-degree brackets to basically support the posts and the back piece of wood. All right, now let's talk about how to actually go about building it. And starting with number 1, I removed those 2 seats and any of the carpeting that was around that area as well. If you do decide to remove the 2 seats but leave the individual seat on the left, really important note here, you will have to buy a 3rd-party bracket in order to secure that to the Jeep, because basically that seat secures to the other 2 seats. So just note that you'll need another bracket as well. You could probably DIY this bracket. I just chose to purchase it online. I'll keep a link in the description for that. I'll also keep the links to pretty much all of the materials and anything else on this Jeep in the description down below, but keep in mind those are affiliate links and they do help the channel. Number 2, I unscrewed the cargo lid tie-down straps. Make sure you hold on to these because they're going to be really useful later. From there, I started cutting my wood, and I basically started with just a huge rectangle based off the measurements that I took of the Jeep. So I just took 2 measurements, width and length, and then I started cutting. For all of the corners, I used a cardboard template. And keep in mind, this can be kind of intimidating when you're making all of these edge cuts, but if you are carpeting it after, it is much more forgiving. I used all existing holes in the Jeep for this platform. So basically I just used the tie down strap piece as a template, and drilled holes into it. And this was really helpful to know where the holes were in the body. Be careful here though, because you don't want to damage the piece in any way, just in case you use it later. Then I measured for the cubby, basically just cut a square and rounded the edges with a jigsaw. I drilled an inch circle as a thumb hole, and I placed a metal bracket on the bottom left so that the cubby door is supported by that bracket and also the right side of the body of the Jeep. Then I did some testing for how far back I wanted the rear platform piece to go. Perhaps one of the only perks of being 5'6" is that I fit in here pretty comfortably. Thank you, my Italian parents. And then I started cutting the wood in the same way that I did on the far back piece. I basically just made a massive rectangle, and I wanted to have the weight sit on the body of the Jeep. So half of it goes on the back part, and then the other side actually goes on the cup holders. I didn't want to lose the cup holder space, so I drilled 2 massive holes to still have the cup holder room on the Jeep. There's not enough cup holders in this car already, so I wasn't going to sacrifice those. I secured it to the body of the Jeep with those brackets, and then I made a post for the right corner and secured that in with a bracket as well. So all in all my weight was dispersed across like 4 points here, and so far it's been great. For all of the corners, I again used a cardboard template. And because this piece has been so tight in the Jeep, I actually haven't needed to secure it down with any screws, although I might do so in the future, and it doesn't move at all while driving, so it's been perfectly fine in that area. I had 2 design ideas for this part as well. I was going to put piano hinges on and then have it be able to lift up to access that storage. But again, I thought it was making things a little too complicated, and I found it so much easier to just kind of reach in from the passenger side rear door, or I could lift up the entire thing as well to access from underneath. You could also add doors to access the storage under there. Again, what I've found is this is easiest, and even camping with this setup over the last year, I haven't wanted to make any changes. And then I carpeted the entire thing, so I thought it just looked much cleaner. And of course, I added the bed, and I think this bed looks fantastic here. I actually had this bed already from previous camping trips. If you want to learn more about this bed, I actually talked about it in my full Jeep tour in the most recent video, so definitely check that out as well. And here's how everything came out. I'm really happy with how this platform came out. It's allowed me to mount accessories like the trail kitchen, take advantage of the storage up front, and have a really comfortable bed for camping. Now, if you use this design, if you build this platform, let me know in the comments below. And if you have any questions, drop those in the comments down below. If overlanding and camping videos is something you're interested in, and gear reviews as well, definitely hit that subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, and also hit the like button if you actually got anything out of this video. I would love to see it. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you out there on the road.